Good morning. My name is Joe Christian. I'm a senior at Presbyterian College, majoring in business administration. Today I have the honor of interviewing Mr. Tommy Carver, who is with Kemet Electronics Corporation here in Simpsonville, South Carolina. Mr. Tommy, I just want to say thank you for taking your time today to come and do this interview for us. Mr. Tommy, would you start off just by giving an audience an overview of your position and responsibilities at Kemet?
Sure. Good morning, Joe. Good to talk to you as well. My job is the Global Indirect Materials Manager for Kemet Electronics. And Kemet Electronics does capacitive components, capacitors. So we do tantalum capacitors, ceramic capacitors, film and electrolytic. My responsibility is to handle like corporate contracts, like Microsoft, Cisco, corporate travel, things of that nature.
Awesome. I got you. So what would you say you like best about your job at Kemet?
The thing I like best about my job is that Kemet is a global international company, multicultural people all over the world. My boss is in Germany. Have the pleasure and luxury of working with people from all over the globe. We get to collaborate. We get to interact about, the common goals of Kemet. We work together to make purchases on a central procurement perspective. We work on major contracts. It's just a cross-collaborative effort amongst many types of people all over the world. We have plants in Asia, in Japan, Taiwan, China. We have 4 facilities in Mexico, obviously the one here in Simpsonville, South Carolina, and our headquarters is in Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Okay, very cool, very cool. All right, so talked about what you like best about it. What are your biggest headaches though at Kemet?
I really probably would say there's not a whole lot of headaches, so to speak, but there's just challenges in general. In today's environment, things are very much changing rapidly, as we all know. There's things happening around the globe that affect us not only personally, but from a business perspective as well. For me, some of the challenges sometimes are the different time zones that we have to work within the different groups. I find a common time element to get on calls and have meetings sometimes is a challenge. Today is a fast-paced environment. We have a lot of things going on at a rapid pace. Today's world is a kind of expected now type of environment. And that's the way supply chain is. It's more about not only the just-in-time environment, but it's meeting the customer's expectations and making sure that we've got everything filled in the pipeline that needs to be there in order to run their manufacturing. Now, when those things get disrupted, that's when it becomes a very big challenge. You've got to figure out how logistically you're going to get things to the supplier. If you've got, raw material issues, or you've got other things that are constraints that are keeping you from actually, getting the product to the customer. And the same thing works on the reverse side too. For us, we're trying to get product to our customers, but we're also trying to get product into us so we can make the components. And when you look at what Kemet does, you've got thousands of different part numbers that are made up of a lot of different types of materials. So you've got to have all that stuff working consistently and working efficiently through the supply chain. So, I wouldn't necessarily say headaches,
right,
but every day is an opportunity.
Good for you. That's awesome. All right, so now that you have the benefit of hindsight, is there anything you've done differently in college that would have made you better prepared for this role?
Well, I would say for me, in my career, I started out in the Air Force a number of years ago and was trained by, the best in the business, I would say, in the government from the Air Force perspective. Learned the logistics training back then. I have an associate's degree in logistics management, and then I went on and got my bachelor's degree and my master's degree in business. But I would say probably looking back, I probably would have more, focused in on supply chain a little bit more when I was in, the master's program. But, today it is very important that you continue your education. It's hard sometimes to figure out where you really want to be when you're in your 20s, unless you really are, focusing on what it is you want to do long term. But I would say probably for me, maybe have focusing more on the supply chain management. But I've been in the business for 25 plus years, so you can't trade anything for being on the job and learning from a lot of smart people on a day-to-day basis. And that's the way you really grow, and alongside of your academia as well. So it's you got to have both of them. That's important.
Right. All right. So finally, just the last question I really want to ask you is life lessons or advice you would give to current students who might want to pursue this type of career path.
I would say, as I mentioned before, there's lots of challenges going on in the world today. Don't lose focus or sight of what it is you want out of life. And everything starts with being disciplined about what it is you want and staying focused on that, not getting yourself straight off into another direction. I would say stick to it, get your education. If you need to go on and get further education, that's good as well. But just stay focused, One other thing I would say that I've found that I've just kind of put out here, since we're talking freely about, what I would suggest.
Right.
Today we've got a lot of technology, and a lot of people use their cell phones for a lot of different things. And it's good from a business perspective, but don't get caught up with a lot of the texting part of it. In business, people like to see a text if you have something quick that you need to let them know. But if you really have something important that you need to speak to somebody about, or a business proposition you need to speak to somebody about, I would highly recommend picking up the phone and making that call, or setting a meeting like we're doing today to discuss it. Because I will tell you, in my career, a lot of things get lost in texting. And, you want people to interpret what you're saying the right way. Sometimes it can be interpreted differently through a text message. So use it for what it's for, but when something's important, I always pick up the phone and make that call.
Gotcha. Well, Mr. Tommy, I think that just about wraps up everything. I just want to say again, thank you so much for, taking your time to do this interview and to tell Presbyterian College students about what you do. It's very interesting, and I'm sure, they'll take a lot of key points from this interview. But really just thank you. Thank you again for taking the time.
You're quite welcome, Joe. I've been knowing you a long time. And
yes, sir. I didn't mention this, but Mr. Tommy are neighbors, been neighbors for years, and lifelong family friends and stuff like that, tailgating and everything like that. So Mr. Tommy, thank you so much. And I'm sure I'll see you again pretty soon, okay?
Absolutely, and best of luck to you.
Yes, sir.